saying, welcome back to Dead
Yeah.
in Denver. All right, so our camera focuses back in to a rather a more rotund-looking fella on a horse that seems like it might be struggling a little bit with his weight. Uh, it's not who you think it is, I promise. He's wearing a nice vest with a duster cloak on top of it, and he's got a U.S. Marshal's badge on his breast pocket. Traveling with him are two dogs alongside of him as he travels through. He's got a white beard headed through and a black hat on his head. And as he's walking, he's got a rifle just held up at his side as he just trots along the train tracks. And he turns and calls back, "Are you all right back there, father? Think you can keep up?" And our camera shifts to Jagger. Describe your character for us.
Your typical Mexican pasture with, the. I don't really know how to describe the haircut. It's pretty similar to the token you have there.
Mm-hmm.
Not amazingly in shape, but not a large fellow either. Middle-aged.
Yeah.
Somewhat tired looking.
This U.S. Marshal you met in Denver. While looking for your friends, you heard of a group that rode out to investigate the train's missing, the train becoming missing. And when you went to begin investigating, as you were about to ride out to follow after where you imagine your friends would have gone, you ran into the U.S. Marshal, who is also traveling the path. U.S. Marshal Hugh Tucker. And he's traveling with, so you guys decide to temporarily partner together since you're headed in the same direction.
Sexiest man alive.
Yeah. He looks at you with his gun laying about, says, "You don't look like you're quite ready to be on a horse so much. Holding up all right?"
As well as I can.
Well, so tell me, and you guys just riding together, how exactly does a preacher, a man of the faith, come into hands with a bounty hunting posse of sorts?
Part of my work to spread the faith,
Well, I do bid you good luck. You're gonna need it in Denver. Not a lot of people faithful here.
I can only hope.
Except for those who are with the Catholic Church. There are a lot of diehards, but they don't listen to a lot of reason. They'll pretty much listen to whatever Bishop Macabeuf says. So I try not to worry myself with them too much.
That might be for the best.
Yeah, you guys continue riding, and we hear a gunshot go off in the distance. And the marshal looks up, kind of takes his rifle in both hands, and starts just peering down. Doesn't see anything in the distance. And he says, "I don't know if you've been in these parts before, Father, but they're not kind. The Indians are rough, the miners are rougher, and there's always bandits around to keep my job busy. Seems we might have one wandering about."
Well, I hope you can handle that, Marshal.
I imagine I can. I've been at this job for quite a while, and I still live to tell the tale. Anyways, let's just hurry up and find this train before any worse things happen. It's a little bit longer of you guys riding before you come around the cusp of a hill and you can see the train in the distance and some people wondering about it. And the marshal rides up and says, looks like we've got some people who found it before us. Maybe your friends, maybe not. He takes his pistol out of his pocket and fires a shot in the air for everyone at the train to hear, and all of you hear it. And he yells out, "This is U.S. Marshal Hugh Tucker. Are you friend or foe?"
Friends.
Joe shouts, "I am a friend and I am tired."
Well, my friend, we both are. He holsters the gun and begins riding on. Would you
She's
all happen to
definitely,
know
like,
the
laying
father
down,
here
by the
by
way.
any chance?
Sorry, what?
Would you all happen to
Talked
know
over
the
you.
father here by any chance?
Yeah. We've been looking for him. We must have left him behind.
F in the chat.
The feeling
Well,
when you
Father.
accidentally leave behind a priest.
Well, Father, it looks like we found your friends, and it looks like they might be in need of some God.
Wait, y'all
Sheriff,
had a
speed above the
father
train?
with you?
Looks like it's too late.
Yeah. And the marshal trots up on his horse. Looks about to everyone here and says, "What brings you all up here? I didn't get the full story out of him."
Well,
Rowan
we were
looks at the
looking
train.
into
All that blood back
train.
there brought us over here.
So
The
I'm
train.
supposed to believe you're just some worried denizens coming to look for a train in the name of all of that's good and holy in the world?
We were hired to investigate the train situation, and then we found this train was late, so we went out here to find it.
Would you pardon if I reckoned hired by who? There's a lot of players in town. I'd love to know who I'm working with.
Chase.
Chase, huh? Of course it's bloody Chase. He like looks at the train, sees like the blood and from your blood on some of your hands. Some of the tied up gentleman with a or he's not tied up anymore. McLean's dead body and some of the other Indians that I don't know if you guys brought him on the train or not.
And for a lot of us, blood on all of our clothes.
Yeah, says looks like it wasn't a peaceful recovery. I apologize for that. Meant to ride out sooner, but got preoccupied with other business in town.
We were ambushed by the Deadeye gang, or hirees of the Deadeye gang.
Let me make a common, or this would be an academics roll for Deadeye. Says, Jesse Huffman. Lovely fellow, isn't he? I assume he's the one who did that one and loves to kill his men before we can to get information from them. Always does it from afar. He loves to flaunt his style.
We did get some information out of him before Mr. Huffman finished him off, but not much.
That would be great news. I'd love to hear it sometime. How's the train look?
It's still in good shape.
Messy.
It's still drivable.
You all
Mr.
mind if I
Sheriff?
take a look?
Oh,
Yes.
Good. All right.
That is U.S.
have
Marshal.
you-
I am above a sheriff. Thank you very much.
My apologies, Mr. Marshall. And she like writes something in her note. Actually, she probably isn't writing at this point in time.
Yeah.
She
If you're
probably
curious
is.
about the ranks. I do have this handout at the bottom has the lawman organizations and the military ranks.
Got it.
Being a U.S. Marshal makes him the highest tier of authority within Union territory. Of course, you guys are not in Union territory. You're into disputed territories, but he's still a high figure.
All right, hold on. I thought I added something to my notes, but I hadn't. There we go. Have you heard of one Flossy Guy's trading wagon?
Ooh, this is going to be a common knowledge, and he gets +2 on this because of an edge he has. And he rolled a critical failure.
Shitting me, dude.
Bruh.
I reckon I don't know anybody named Flossie. Quite a strange name, though.
Can you spend a Benny to have him re-roll? No, you can't re-roll. Fuck. Never mind.
I could use one of my blues to add a d6.
You
But
should do that.
I feel like it. Yeah, sure. Let's add a d6. I've got 6 bennies. I might as well use some of them to help you guys out. As a 1.
I might as well. Oh well.
Well, we are determined to get literally no information.
Let's add another
Right
one.
here,
I've got a
cool.
lot of bennies. I'm keeping most of my bennies for if you guys decide to shoot the Marshal.
Oh, nah.
Okay,
That brings it up to a 4.
that brings it to a 4.
He got a plus
Alright.
2, didn't he?
Yes, he does have a +2. He says, actually, thinking further on it, I do know someone named Flossie, or at least mention of him. I've never met him myself. Word is he's one of the traders down around the, what do they call it? The elephant coral?
All right, that is good to know. I found a business card for Flossy Guy's trading wagon on what appeared to be the main leader of the bunch of ambushees.
Really now? You still have this card?
I sure do.
Mind if I take a lawman's look at it?
You sure may, and you sure may.
Takes the
But I
card.
would appreciate if you came over here, cause moving is painful.
He brings his horse over. Elephant coral. Corral.
Oh, okay.
Elephant corral.
It could be
Can you
corral,
actually
honestly.
repeat that? Cause I somehow was focused on thinking of what I need to say next, and not on listening.
What a mood.
Elephant coral.
What about the elephant coral? That's where Flossie is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Des Moines? I'm pretty sure that's the correct way to say that.
That's the correct way to say it.
Yeah.
You said something weird earlier. It was
Des
definitely not
Moines.
Des Moines that you said earlier.
That's Moana.
Alright,
Moana.
he looks at the card and says,
Make way. Make way.
well, it seems, might be worth for multiple people to take a look at this floppy guy. Could be that they are just buying some guns. Could be they are dealing with some, more black methods. If you catch my drift.
I certainly do. And then she adds under her breath, nah.
He gives you your card back.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Marshall. As she just lays back down.
I need to find the name. Where was the name I gave you guys? Where was that? Or is it Flossie, not Floppy?
Yeah,
He
Flossie.
was Flossie.
Flossie guy. I need to write that down somewhere.
Such a good name, dude.
Yeah, he looks in the train, whistles, and is like, whew. That's a lot of miners. Now, I sure do hope you all weren't the ones that put him down.
Trust me,
No, sir.
mister.
Not the miners.
If I had the capability to put men down, I would not be laying here the way I am.
Okay, Ben.
I suppose you have some capability, otherwise, I mean, you're alive and they're not, so
You
fortune favors you, it seems like.
We
That
did
it does.
kill the members of the Deadeye band, though. Those,
Yes.
I think it was 6 men? Yeah, 6 men. They're
Yeah.
in the train.
He takes a look at the men and says, going around looking at each one of the bodies, says, I don't rightly recognize any of these fellas. They must not be too high ranking. Of course, Deadeye doesn't
The
keep many
gentleman that we
members.
talked to, said they were hired on by the Deadeye gang. So I don't believe that they're necessarily members of that gang.
Some good information.
also, would you happen to know if there are any Irish gangs in town?
Plenty of Irish, plenty of gangs. Let's do a common knowledge roll. Okay. Says there's a couple of Irish gangs in town. O'Neill's boys being forefront in my mind.
Any of them got a beef with Cole?
Chase.
You mean of Chase?
Huh?
I mean, most people in this town, in one way or another, come back to good old Edward Chase, and he spits on the ground.
Chase, right?
Yeah. He says, so, I imagine there's many people who either work for him or have beef with him. It's usually one or the other.
He does have his hand everywhere, doesn't he?
Yes, hard guy to catch in the act, so... You all seem like fine folk, maybe new hires in town, so... I'll leave my open hand to you. Might want to stay... I want to be careful of good old Chase. He'll get you caught up in more trouble than you're worth, and then if you have any information on the guy, you've always got my ear.
I will keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
we appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Anyways, any of y'all know how to work a train?
That'd be me, sir.
All right. How about we get this thing on a road? It'll be a lot more peaceful coming to town with a lawman on board.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Shit, that's a good point.
That is a very good point. We're literally driving into town on a train full of corpses.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna hop in the engine room. Does anyone want to help me or just stay with me? I don't think anyone really can help me.
Rose joins and she's just watching the whole time. She wants to
Literally
learn how it
anything
works.
out of the room full of bodies.
The lawman, Marshal Tucker, will also come into the... or Marshal Tucker is actually going to just ride along the train for a while, because his horse is still fresh. And he's got a pretty damn good horse.
All right. Do I have to make a roll?
With your raise from earlier, I'm not going to make you make a roll.
Thank God.
So,
Cool.
you start hitting the levers to get this thing moving, and the whole thing begins chugging along. Those who are in the cabin are in the cabin. Most of the horses would probably have to be following behind, though most of your horses are probably well trained enough that they can follow behind. Or at least they know how to. As you begin making your way back to Denver, Marshal yells up at some point, yelling like, now when we get to town, it's probably a better idea to stop the train outside of the station instead of in it. We don't want any of the folks seeing all the nasty business in the cabin.
Hey,
That would be quite unfortunate.
And Mr. Preacher, if you're any good at the healing arts like your folk tend to be, might be worth seeing if you can tend to any of their wounds. I reckon after an hour, they might not be as easy to get to.
Silence.
I think he's trying to talk.
I think he's saying something.
Yeah, Jagger,
I
you
heard
might
I'm
need to
trying
get
to
closer
talk.
to your mic.
I think it's the noise suppression.
Yeah, if you're too far from your mic, it won't pick you up.
Yeah, I think it's suppressing me.
It is. Like, you gotta get real up and close to it.
I think that's been causing problems because I've been trying to speak actually.
Oh, you have? We haven't heard
We
you
haven't
at this
heard
point.
anything.
We've heard nothing.
Oh no! Sad. Kind of disappointed. All right.
You have any scenes you want to do?
Which of you are injured?
lot of
I
them.
imagine the one with the obvious wounds.
Yeah, Rose and Ellen, I believe, are both heavily injured.
And Howie is injured.
Yeah, Howie's a little injured.
Alright, well, I'm not being clear on the whole spellcasting thing, but I think it's just a roll, right?
Are you doing magical healing or not magical healing?
I believe a magical would be more practical for the heavily wounded, right?
So the way magical is the same as normal healing. The difference is, for the case of mechanics, normal healing you can only make the roll once, and then you as a player are not allowed to make a roll for that wound again. Magical does not have that limitation, so it might be worth to try natural healing first, like see if you can do it with mundane, and then you could do magical if that didn't work.
Okay,
you could
that
also
makes-
just
okay.
go. Yeah, you could also just go right to magical if you want to.
Alright, yeah, then, yeah, I'll try. Mundane.
All right, so make a healing roll. You don't have any. So this is the unfortunate news, is because you do not have any items that would like you don't have a first aid kit or a med kit. So the healing roll is at -1, which means that success is not a success, unfortunately.
Alright, you're dying. See ya.
Who was that for?
Oh wow.
Rose. Sorry.
That is unfortunate.
I'll try magical healing, I guess.
Thank
On
you.
Rose.
Yeah.
So you're
Do I
going
have
to
that
make
die
you're going to make a faith roll. You could also just roll the spell. It should roll faith.
Yeah.
And because of your conviction, you add +2. Because you're blessed, we add another +2.
Is that on the button or
No, this will just add that.
okay?
We'll also be subtracting 2 because of the spell costs 3 power points. So overall that is a 6. So Rose, the preacher comes up to you, puts his takes a cross that's hanging from his shirt and like lays it on top of you and begins. Does yours include a prayer, or is it silent healing? Is it like a lay on hands?
It's more of a prayer in my head, but yeah, it's like a lay on hand.
Okay, it's visually silent. So
Yeah.
we'll say he grabs onto his cross and takes his hand and puts over one of your major wounds, and one of your ribs you feel heal over, and it's no longer bruised. You still have the injuries for 24 hours or until all wounds are fixed, but one of your wounds is gone.
Oh my god, how many wounds does he have?
3.
3.
Oh,
Yeah,
Isn't that
she's
bad?
hurting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like,
real bad.
extra bad. Does anyone else have that significant of injuries, or is it just
Ellen
Rose?
also has 3.
All 3 of them have 3.
No, Howie only has 1.
I only got one, but I'm also fatigued.
Yeah, he's fatigued.
But that's your own fault.
Hey, I was trying to get some loot.
You wanted a crowbar.
Oh,
I'm
That
gonna
is
go and
factual,
check.
yeah.
I can keep healing, right?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
keep
you did,
going.
everybody.
You can keep doing magical healing as much as you want. Natural healing you can only do once.
Alright.
Is there any reason for him not to do any magical healing?
It could have drawbacks for him.
If I fail.
If the spell fails.
Okay.
So that's at a +2. So this was on
It's
Rose
on Rose.
again?
Yeah.
Alright. Rose, the preacher takes his hand, brings it to another spot on you, and your other you lose one more wound as he heals over a bullet wound that pierced through your gut.
Rose is visibly impressed. And asks, now how'd you do that?
God works in many ways, and I am just one of them.
I
Man,
see.
we really
so
should have taken Doubting Thomas for you.
Mhm.
me?
No, for it's
Oh,
unrelated, continue.
him. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So it's the work of the divine.
I suppose you could call it that.
Is God not
Jagger.
divine?
Jagger, I am modifying your skill to automatically add the +4 from here on out.
Can you do that?
Yeah, it's just adding it to the faith skill.
Killbud the tech wizard, dude. He can do whatever the fuck he wants,
Well, I imagine
Not
it's
quite.
stuff you can see on his end.
as long as it's fairly simple.
That's stuff you can see as well.
Oh, is it? Oh, you didn't change my button. That's what I meant. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, because if he fails his roll, he starts going through a crisis of faith, and it can get pretty bad pretty quickly.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's the drawback of healing. So I can do it a lot, but then I could also lose my faith, and
Yeah. Luckily, he has a +4, so he's pretty good at healing. Greater healing is tougher to do. Like, if the wounds were more than an hour old, it'd be a lot harder for him to heal them.
don't
Do
worry,
you want to do
guys,
any
I'm
more
gonna
healing?
max.
This was a literal godsend. Get it? I'm sad.
At one wound, she should be all right, right?
She's
Or is
mostly
that-
alright. So Rose fell incapacitated twice. So she has injuries that is reducing her scores, and those injuries last for 24 hours or until all of her wounds are gone.
But like, I'm fine though. So like, you don't need to worry about it too much.
'Cause, yeah, like I said, if I heal too much and lose my ability to heal, we're
It's not
That
a
is
fun
problematic.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ellen is of
You already
course
helped
still
him
at
a lot.
three wounds, and you could still do a healing roll, like a normal healing roll on Ellen if you want to try non-magical healing.
Ellen's bio and info. Kind of makes me not want to. She'll shoot your dick off.
Yeah, so don't mess up.
I will attempt to do a mundane healing on Ellen.
All right. It's at -1,
Ooh.
which unfortunately is not a success.
I want some
Damn.
mundane healing.
Normal healing.
Yeah, you could try mundane healing on Howie as well. He has 1 wound.
Could I try healing? Mundane
I believe
healing?
you could, Rose. I don't think you tried it before.
I don't believe so. Rip.
Rose, that is you also don't have skills, or you don't have the equipment, so that is a fail.
Yep.
Alright, I will attempt a magical healing on Ellen.
Okay.
We're all just trying our best.
All right,
Damn.
that is at -2 because of the spell costs the spell costs 3 power points, which is -2 on the roll. Hello, but that is still a
Mood.
success and a raise. So, Ellen, he goes up to you, holds his cross, holds his hand over your wounds. You lose 2 wounds.
Ooh,
Dang.
you're just safe.
Guy's a miracle worker.
Hopefully you feel a bit better.
Ellen nods and says, "Thank you kindly, sir."
Of course.
And of course, for the most of you, these are powers that you know. These are literal miracles. It's not well known for people to be able to do this. There's been rumors, but this is quite clearly not supposed to be possible.
Anything like this back where I'm from, right? No.
No, this would be uncommon even for where you're from. There have been more rumors, but it's still uncommon for it to be shown
Makes
to
sense.
see it with your own eyes.
Does anyone else have any injuries? No?
Howie has one. If you want to try
Oh,
mundane healing or magical
Yes.
healing.
I will try to treat your wound in a more practical manner, if I can.
Come on, crit fail. Damn.
No, he got this.
Howie, the preacher approaches you, and maybe you expect him to do his magic stuff on you, but he doesn't. He just like fixes up your wound like a normal person would, and you lose.
Okay, let's see
you
how
lose
it
your
is. A run. And I'm still fatigued.
Yeah, you still have fatigue.
Ignore that.
That's up to you guys to decide as a mini group, the brothers. Have
Up to
you
you,
all?
Jagger.
I assume they've seen it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the father likes to hide it very much. Yeah.
So this is that gentleman that you said you were traveling with.
Yep, and this is the Aarón himself.
And why did he get left behind?
Yes.
Had matters of the church to attend to. Sorry.
Makes sense.
No worries. You showed up when you were needed the most. And
I
that's
don't
all we
think I've
Father,
been
I'm
much
okay.
use in this scenario anyways, so.
Father, are you of the Catholic faith, I assume?
Yes.
Cool.
All right. And the
Just
train
drop that
begins.
conversation.
The train begins to move into the station now. Railroads, so trains can obviously move rather fast. So, Joe,
I'm gonna
Are
slow
you-
down like way out.
you're slowing it down for your horses, or like, how fast do you want to get to town? Because you can get there in an hour.
Ooh,
Oh
my goodness.
If you go normal train speed, you'll get there in an hour.
Yeah, but I don't want to leave the horses behind. We're so attached to our pets.
Let's just like
Also
drag them
real
behind.
expensive.
That'll
Yeah, that's the joke.
I think I'll probably try to get there within 2 or 3 hours instead of the 1, just to let the
Okay.
horses keep up and to let the marshal keep up on his horse.
See ya, Marshal. Yeah. So you start in about 3 hours. You start pulling up to town. The marshal comes up alongside the train again, and he says, basically, reminds you like we should probably start slowing up. We're entering town. You can't go full
I'll
speed in there.
Right. Yeah, I'll slow up and go like slower than, what would be just a little bit slower than typical.
So for this, I will need a driving roll.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
Goes faster.
Now, those of you who aren't driving, you can try to support her if you would like. If you have ways to support her and increase her bonus to her roll.
Please do. Please
Can I
don't.
say that because I mentioned that Rose would be watching intently and trying to learn how as well. Can I say that she, she asks Joe to take her through it step by step, all right, show me what to do first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, so that way
I
she's very
totally wouldn't
methodical
do that.
about it.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be either so so you're not doing it, you're like reminding her of steps.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to look at your hindrance.
Oh, I had
Just-
forgotten about that.
Okay, you're not using the device yourself, so this should be fine. So this would be either a notice or a common knowledge.
Let's do a notice.
Because you're
I clicked the wrong
recalling,
thing.
seeing how well you can
Well,
recall
I
information.
said Rowan would be up there. Can you do it as well?
I feel like this is a pretty important one. I'm going to spend a Benny to re-roll that.
Yeah, Rowan, if you...
you.
Yeah. And Joe, your previous roll is not going to count because they have to support before you roll. So I'm going to let you roll again
Okay.
once they've done their rolls. Okay, so...
Tell me when.
All right. Rose and Rowan, you both start pointing like, doesn't that one do it? Shouldn't you bring it to about this level or so? And they giving you pointers. They're backseat driving.
It's fine. I'm all right with that.
Does anyone else have ways they would like to support? We're at a +2
This is
bonus
like the
right now.
second time she's been in a train. So.
Alright, nobody else is mentioning ways to support, so
Can I intimidate someone to help them?
I
To make
don't
the
think
train
it's
No.
gonna help her.
I think
I
I
don't-
would make it.
Square at the train till it stops moving.
You're gonna do what?
Ah!
Go into the train until it stops moving.
Quit down it. All right, I'm gonna roll.
Yeah, so make your roll. We're adding +2 from support. That is a 3.
What are the fucking odds? Can I
Get
re-roll
yourself
that? I want to spend a penny.
You can spend a bendy.
Yay! Here you go. Womp.
God knows where it was. Oh, never mind. I'm on a different map page. That'd be where it is. Why is there 2 bennies on here?
I only put one.
I redeemed because I initially rolled a 2 to help. Then I redeemed a Benny to
Oh,
re-roll.
did you re-roll?
Jesus. We're all dying.
That is a 2.
Am I? No.
We're gonna
you-
die.
Would you like to spend another benny to re-roll?
Yes.
Or, let's see, what bennies do you have? You could also use your red benny to add a d6 to the roll.
Do it. He doesn't have any more. Do it.
Yeah, do it. He doesn't have
Yeah.
any more.
I'm gonna do that.
All right.
Probably should have done
Uh,
that one first.
Roll
well.
1d6
Yeah.
/r space 1d6 and add an exclamation point at the end.
She did not. But
I didn't
that's
do
fine.
that. Sorry.
5 is a success, so 5, 6, 7. Success, no raise.
Oh man, that was almost bad.
That almost could have been a train wreck, guys.
A literal
Literally.
I get
begin
it.
You begin
It's the first
slowing down
drive-through.
into town and then
You're
slowing.
familiar with train wrecks.
Yeah, you begin slowing down into town and then slowing down even further into the station, parking in front of the station and not into it. The marshal rides ahead and starts yelling out to the crowd that there's been an accident and the station's going to have to figure out how to refund their tickets for the moment. In which case, a man in a business suit that seems related to the station says, yes, we will refund all tickets as part of the Marshal's gratitude for half price. People begin swarming over to this ticket booth to get their tickets back. A lot of people are angry, but a lot of people are curious at it. Most people seem to note that if the train is not coming into the station, it's none of their business. And they begin moving along. Yeah.
Good on them.
And the marshal waits for a moment, like holds his hand up for you to wait for a moment, lets people leave. Jagger, I can hear you typing, like
I'm sorry.
high-pitched. I don't know what you're typing.
Well, I'm responding to my girlfriend. I'm sorry.
I often type my notes to the session.
Yeah. And then he
But
once everyone moves along their way, Marshal Tucker signals for you to come on into the station.
I do.
Yeah. And as you guys come into the station, you see him talking to what looks like a deputy. And he says, like you can overhear a little bit of the conversation where he basically tells the guy, now you should go get your local Denver marshals and the sheriff to come here and start taking care of these bodies. It's quite pretty, and I have better things to tend to than this. No. And the deputy runs out of the station to go find other lawmen. He turns to you guys. Says, it seems for the moment you've done a service for the city, and I do thank you for that. I would mention for old Deadeye, I'll be looking into that a little bit myself, but I am quite preoccupied with other businesses in the city. Lots of things go wrong, and I'm always kept busy with the work. If you do happen to find him, I wouldn't mind at all helping to take him off your hand, and gives me a reason to leave the city for a bit, and I'm always down for that, because in order to get his bounty, you'd have to ride out for one of the states that he is to be collected in, and they're quite a bit away. So it
That
seems
would
you
be
all
Kansas,
you all might
right?
have business in town. Kansas, Colorado, the next town over in Colorado. And I
Also
believe
wanted in the
Utah.
City of Gloom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Kansas, Utah, and Iowa. All of which are not close by, so I'd be more than happy to pay you a portion of the bounty now in order for me to go and collect it later, and hopefully he stays alive on the journey. If he is alive. If he's dead, I could probably pay you the full bounty as a working lawman of the city.
All right, that is good to know.
Well, yeehaw then.
Yeah.
See
He says,
probably.
He tips his hat and says, you all seem to be of somewhat reputable folk, so hopefully we meet each other again in the future, everyone living and well. And if you have any more work that you need, do come try to find some of the rest of us marshals around the place. We're always running around. There's about 10 of us out here. Who knows, if you can build a reputation for yourselves, we might have some other bounties that could be collected on.
And what was your name again?
I am Marshal Hugh Tucker. Some of the folk in town have nicknamed me Hustler. I don't fully know why. Something about I work too hard or something.
or something.
All right. Thank you so much for your assistance, Mr. Marshal.
Of course. Yeah, you all can get a move on. I imagine you don't want to get caught up in paperwork. I'll stay here and take care of the train.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
I think it's
Yeah,
about
we
time
should
we went
get
and
that
reported to our employer then.
Chase, yeah.
I feel like that would indeed be wise.
Let's get to it.
All right. Okay.
I got my horse.
God, the horses.
Yeah, you all can get your horses as we move back to the city of Denver. You guys make your way over to the Chase Manor.
That map's supposed to be blurry.
As you guys make your way through
Okay,
the streets, Denver seems just as busy as usual. A lot of people are around the Denver Pacific Station, like just wondering what's going on. And further in, as you start making your way to the Chase Manor, you get about to this crossroad here. When you see there's a large group of people, grouped up around some kind of wooden stand that's been set up. This is just something interesting that you see as you know by. And you see there are two men on the stands. They seem to be talking to the crowd about something. They're both pretty well dressed. And underneath it says mayor debate.
Mayor debate.
Is it election time already?
It is election time.
Well, that would
Yeah.
explain why the city's so tense.
Should we go heckle them a little
The
bit?
city's not always tense.
Well,
Yes.
you have a point there.
As you guys pass by, you see the two candidates. It is the previous mayor, William J. Barker, and the new candidate in town, Thomas Hornsby. And William J. Barker is on the stand. He looks ragged. He looks like he's a little bit worse for wear, that he's gone through some stress. Lots of stress. He has a bottle of whiskey in his hand on the stand, and he's saying like,
It's a mood.
and like he takes a sip of it and like calls out to the crowd. He says, "Now you all know I am of repute in town, and Mr. Hornsby over here is a new cowpoke in town, if you will. He's not someone who has reputation here, and I frankly, as you may have shared, don't quite like his look. He's a city folk. He doesn't know how things work out here. And anybody is better than he is. I have experience. I have worked here already. I, of course, will do a job." And Hornsby, on the other side, speaks up. "Now, I may be of the city, but I have worked in offices before, and I do believe I would do a great job. We need more reputation of our neighboring folk. The Indians in town who want to be part of our community should be welcomed into our community. Women should be put in more positions of authority. It's about time that we see some marshals that actually do decent work around here, and we need to drive
Who is
out
this
the
liberal?
corruption." And so you just pass
Oh,
by.
God.
You just pass by these people as they begin debating one another.
Some
I
profound ideas.
Liberal, he's fighting for Native American rights. You Native American.
Oh, wait, hold on. That was Ben
True.
talking as a.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Wait a minute. That was meant to be a joke, not a political statement.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Probably
I didn't
fine.
take it more than anything.
It's just in.
Yeah.
Ben's a Republican.
And you guys make your way to Chase Manor.
Oh, that was great.
We're building the wall, and the Indians are gonna pay for it.
So Barker is the current mayor, right?
William James Barker is the current mayor. He has been the mayor for quite a long time, and he is known for doing things a little off the books. Because he, for most people believe he does it because he doesn't give a shit anymore.
I mean,
he's become
they're
jaded.
probably not wrong.
However, Williams J. Barker has been the longest Denver mayor, and he does do a decent job. For the most part, a lot of people don't run against him. So he's been in office mostly just because there's no other candidates. Hornsby, Thomas Hornsby is the new candidate in town, seemingly a new guy from back east, with grand ideals for the town, who wants to go against Barker, and for whatever reason, it seems Barker does not like him very much.
Why?
I wonder.
All right. Well, are we coming up on?
So you guys make it to Chase Manor, the glorious manor that stands out among all the other buildings in this block, and there is, of course, a guard at the gate, visibly armed with a shotgun on the other side of the gate.
Oh.
And he looks you guys up and down, and he's like, y'all folk have business?
We are
We're
here
here to see Mr. Chase.
to speak with. With.
Chase.
I wrote it down.
Edward Chase.
Chase.
We are here to speak with Edward Chase.
We have news about his train problem.
He said, "Fuck me."
No, that's.
Who should I say is speaking?
You may call us the Brothers and the Bells.
Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what we want to commit to?
Oh shit.
I mean, that's what Rose said. So, like, you guys can correct her if you want.
That's why I'm asking you guys, is that what you want to commit to?
Do we
I'm
like
fine
the
with it.
spicy Wranglers?
Yeah, what about the spicy Wranglers?
Doesn't have quite the same ring as Brothers and Bells.
Yeah. Or Brother Bells.
Because I really like bells, dude.
Brother Bear.
Yeah, I do like bells. Brother Bell.
Ring, ring, ring.
Or Brother Bear.
Is the bell.
He hands the shotgun off to another person who stands guard and says, "Just wait here a moment," and he goes inside. You then see him a couple of minutes later come on top of the balcony, hanging over the entryway, and he says to the guy downstairs, "Mr. Chase says you can go on and let him in." And how would you guys have reacted if I said that Mr. Chase said you couldn't come in?
Mr.
I
Chase
have
said,
no
"Go home."
idea.
Go on.
They let the gate
Just-
open to let you guys in. The new guy on the ground floor says, "Y'all can put your horses right over there. We'll take good care of them."
All right.
And the guy
Be
guy
good, Meek.
upstairs, yeah, the guy upstairs speaks. Any large weapons take from them. Mr. Chase said they could keep their sidearms if they'd like.
Does a bow count as a large weapon?
Yes.
All right.
I got
So
my pistol in
they
my
let you-
holster, and that bone dagger I got it stuck in my boot.
All right.
Stuck in your
I'll
thigh.
put my rifle
Just
on.
right in there.
Ooh.
They let you
Yes,
they let you bring your horses in, and actually, like, around the side, the manor is walled off, obviously, with the gate involved. Going around back, there actually is a stables there, and they like ring your horses up there. There's a stable hand that starts feeding them apples.
Duck loves apples.
Did we change out of our bloody clothes or not?
Nope.
No, you guys came right here.
All right.
They let you in. They take Rowan. They take your rifle.
Of course.
Anybody else with large arms, they take. Howie, they
Your
just rip
arms.
your arms off.
They rip off his arms?
Arms are just gone, bleeding out.
They just pop off like a Lego. And you guys are led upstairs back to the same room where you were before, where Chase is again standing in front of the window, just watching. You can see in front of his window, he can actually see the in the distance the mayor debate going off. As you guys come in, he's got a glass of wine in his hands, and he states, like, he speaks over his shoulder. Tell me, are any of y'all involved in politics?
Nope.
No,
No.
but it's a rather fascinating process. That wrong accent. No, but it's a rather fascinating process that I wish to become involved in sometime in the near future.
Take my word for it, you don't want to be involved in Denver politics. It is horseshit. Poor William Barker over there took the job because nobody else would. Wanted to get rid of it a year later, but nobody ran against him. And he takes a sip and says, now the only person in town to run against him is the worst nightmare for Barker. And so he can't leave office
liberal.
and has to debate for an office he never wanted.
Well?
He puts his glass down and says, something worth crying over, and like sits down. Says, so, my men tell me you guys bring information back for me. Seeing that everyone is
A
here,
train.
I would suppose the train, the mission, if it were, went pretty well. Though I can see some of you look rather bloody, so I hope it didn't go too rough.
Well,
Well,
we are back to tell the tale, so I think that's a victory.
And I am glad to hear it. So, what kind of information you got for me?
well,
It seems that the train was specifically targeting your barrels, your shipment. I believe it was implied that it had Portland's a pre-sequel
Ghost Rock.
currency. That it had Ghost Rock in it. And we learned that from a hostage that we took, that as far as I can tell,
The hostage that we have right here with us.
He's dead.
Oh, right. That happened. Never mind. Where'd he
Do you
go?
wanna do you want to flop
Where'd
a
he
dead
go?
body on the
what do you
floor?
mean, where'd he go? You fucking know what happened.
Oh, right. He died.
Would you like to flop a dead body on the floor?
No, I didn't. Dead body.
No, we left him
somebody else
behind.
was carrying
You
him.
gotta send a message.
No, we left him behind.
we learned that the people who were ambushing the train, although they were dressed as Indians, they were not actually Indians, as they were speaking a language to those unfamiliar with the Indian tongue. It may
I
sound
see.
Indian, although it is not. And what our informant was able to tell us before he was shot is that they were hired by Deadeye, also known as Jesse Huffman.
I am
Yeah.
familiar with the gentleman, or somewhat familiar.
Do you know what he wants with your ghost rock, Mr. Trace?
Deadeye? Probably nothing.
Mhm.
The man's a low grunt in the system, if you will. A mover, not a shaker. I do apologize to all you folk. I had my own suspicions that they might have been after my crates, but no proof. It's good to know that it is true, and it is a Denverite doing it, not the Indians. I had no proof of that myself, and so that is valuable information to know. So,
Yes. And then one more thing. Do you know anything about Flossie Guy's trading wagon? The head ambusher had a business card on him for that place. And I show him the card.
not by name, but anybody who deals with trading is doing it in the Elephant Coral, so I would imagine you could find them in there, and I do have informants that could help with that. But before that, you were hired to find information.
There's one more
and
thing.
There's one more thing.
Yeah, the hostage mentioned something about handing the ghost rocks off to some Irishmen back in Denver.
That he did.
He leans back and thinks to himself, and is like, very interesting. That changes the game a bit.
What do you know
Anyways.
about these Irishmen, if you don't mind me asking?
That is information for private ears. For the moment,
No
you
worries.
all were hired to gather information, and you've done your job very well. He reaches under his desk and pulls out. There are 5 people, but he knew there was going to be a 6, so he would have all 6. He pulls out sacks and lays them on the desk, and they land with a heavy clunk. Like they have some real weight to them. And he says, "That is $100 in gold each."
Eat.
Why, thank you kindly, Mr. Edward Chase. Mr. Chase.
You can all raise your wealth dice by 2 levels.
Oh, fuck.
Hell yeah.
I'm not
So
broke
a
anymore,
level in
guys.
dice is about 30 to 50 gold.
Somewhere in between that, yeah. The threshold becomes higher the more gold you have, like the more money you have.
Okay. So it's not a linear thing.
Yeah, it's not fully linear.
Is there anything past 12?
No.
Okay, then I should spend money soon.
So we
not
are
normally.
encouraged to spend the money before we get to 12 or as we get
All
to
right,
12.
time to buy some Gatling guns.
Yeah, because at 12 you have like a buttload of money. So
All right, I have a buttload of money.
um
I'm
So
at
he
a
says-
D6. Woo.
you've done a great job for me. Give me a bunch of information I will give to either next hire, which may be yourself. It seems you all went through some fighting. If you survived the Deadeye Gang, you've proved yourself to be capable. If you're interested in a full-on task, I could use some men to track down where my shipments went and who is taking them.
That's something I would be interested in doing, although I can't speak for the rest of the bells.
I'd be interested.
I think we should, rest our wounds a bit before taking on something like that.
Yes, I agree.
Of course. Yes, it looks like a couple of you are rather heavy walking, and I would want you to spend your newfound fortunes on gold, Respute, anything you'd like to do. Don't consider myself too strict on deadlines, though they do exist.
But we let you know by tomorrow what our decision is.
It is fine by me, Miss. Miss Thrombly, I believe.
Yes.
All right, I believe we best be heading back to the. So bad at finding things in my
mentions-
The
notes.
Broadwell home.
Broadwell
To the
House.
Broadwell house.
Yeah, he mentions for anybody, should you take the job, I would have more information to give you as a member of my payroll. Otherwise, this is where, should you choose not to take the job, this is where this job will end for you, and I would pray you wouldn't pry further.
Trust me, Mr. Chase. I may love learning, but I do not stick my nose where it does not belong.
That is a trait that will help you a lot in Denver.
Roasted. Fuck, she doesn't have a hat. Never mind.
We need to get this woman a hat.
Hipster Widow's Peaks. I do have a question really quick. It's unrelated. Are there any talented gunsmiths in town?
Plenty. Let's see. Do I have one on my list?
About to say, Chase would probably know the most reliable.
Just wanted to ask Chase.
Mm-hmm.
The most I know are on my payroll, and they tend to not be the most reliable for the sake of business. For fine folks like yourself, you'll want to go down to the 4th Ward, towards Hop Alley in the Red Light District. Nasty part of town, but real talented folk down there.
Fourth Court, what alley?
Hop Alley in the Red Light District.
Thank you very much. I think I'll be taking my leave with the rest of them.
Mr. Heally, if I could ask for you to stay a little bit behind, I do have a different job for you.
As for the rest of us, I'm going down to the bar. Anyone want to join me?
I'll join you.
I believe I've got some shopping to do, but that can be done on a later date. Now is the time for celebration.
So while everyone leaves the room, Rowan, do you want to stay behind?
Yeah.
He reaches into his desk, pulls out the bottle of whiskey, and hands it to you, like puts it on your side of the desk. He then reaches into another part of the desk and pulls out a sheet of paper folded and hands it to you.
I know what it is, but what is it?
You open it up and it is a bounty. I believe
so.
you already know who. And he says, now I do hope no trouble will come to my parts of town. I'm not looking to collect. You will not be hindered there. But I do believe this may persuade your intentions of working and your intentions of staying faithful, if you get my drift.
I understand what you're getting at. I have no intentions of causing trouble myself.
Yeah. Says, well,
Takes
you're
a big ass swig.
He says, "You're welcome to keep the bottle, and welcome to Denver, Mr. Rowan."
100% keeps the bottle.
And he gestures that you can
Yeah,
move
he
on your
walks
way.
out. It's halfway gone by the time he gets down to the street.
Yeah. So I would ask, did anyone try to spy in on that conversation?
Rose does not
Actually,
stick her
Joe wouldn't
nose where the nose does not belong.
Yeah, Joe wouldn't have.
How we
Brenna totally
would've.
would.
Do you
I
think
thought you had respectful people for once. I was like, hell yeah.
Do you think Howie would have sat at the
Howie's
do you think
kind of
Ha-
suspicious.
Yeah, do you think he would have sat at the doorway?
He would have just waited at the doorway, kind of eavesdropping a little bit.
Do you want to make a notice roll to see if you could pick up anything?
Sure.
Because it is through a doorway, it'll be at -2. Did he freeze on us? Oh gosh, everything's frozen. Discord's crashing.
I was
Oh.
wondering,
No, Benny's.
do you know, does KB allow us to buy items from the core rulebook or only from the Deadlands thing?
Some items can be bought from the core rulebook.
Oh,
We
hey.
will
okay.
discuss We will discuss them as they come up. There's some that cannot be bought because they're not made for the system. But first aid kits and medic kits can definitely be bought. And on any other circumstance, it would be on a case-by-case basis.
Got it. Sounds good. Thank you.
Howard, would you like to spend a Benny to re-roll?
I would. Yes.
Or you also got a red one in there if you want to try adding a d6.
I'm gonna re-roll it first, and I think
Okay.
I'm good. I think I'm good.
13.
Oh yeah, have I lost that 15 point on the train ride over here?
If it's been an hour, I believe so.
13.
Train ride
That's
took
a-
more than an
Or
hour.
an 8. Both dice
Yeah, the
loaded.
train ride was 3.
I believe
Okay.
your
Oh,
fatigue
okay.
ends after an hour.
So that would be a 14 then.
Or does it end after an hour, or do you make a vigor roll after an hour? We'll say for now it automatically. We'll say for now it automatically ends.
Okay.
We'll take a look at it later. So with a 14, it's at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a success and 2 raises. So with that much, you definitely clearly heard the conversation, and definitely, I will say, as an extra, you know that liquor was passed.
Okay.
And then the door opens, and Rowan comes out with a bottle of whiskey in hand. And you guys move on your way for the time being.
I'm squinting at Rowan.
Squinting heavily at Rowan.
Yeah. Hear our conversation in there?
Huh?
All right. Well, I won't. If you won't reveal my secret, I'll keep yours down too. Keeps walking.
What secrets are you talking about?
Keeps walking.
All right. And you all leave the chase manor, getting your horses and your gear that was temporarily taken. Most people are moving to the Broadwell house. It seems like you guys might be in for a good nap.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone who still has a wound,
You did.
or you actually keep the wound for a while. Sorry, it'll be 5 days before you get to make a vigor roll to see if you lose that wound.
Yep.
But you all can get a good night. Howie, upon entering the building, you see already sitting at the gambling table. He says, "There he is. I'm here to get my money back." And he slaps $10 on the table.
Very well. If
I'm
you're looking
gonna-
to lose it, you can go right on ahead.
You sit down at the table to gamble with them. I'm not even going to make you make the roll. You're probably going to win. I'm going to assume you do. Totally legal. Totally legal. Didn't
Yep.
cheat at all.
Nope. I'm just lucky.
And you all get a good night's rest, unless there are night activities you wanted to do.
A lot of drinking.
I write in my journal.
Heavy drinking.
Howie's keeping an eye on Rowan. Keeping a squint on him. The side squint.
Yeah.
Ellen's going to take the opportunity to catch up with Joe at the bar.
How you feeling?
Rose just sits in the corner of the bar that she usually sits in and just observes.
Well, Joe, I suppose I can't complain. We're still alive, aren't we?
That's true. That is very true. I don't know about that, Mr. Chase. I mean, he's a good employer, pays well for sure. But I don't trust him.
Certainly seems like a sketchy fellow.
Yeah.
I suppose that could be said for everyone.
What was that?
I said, I suppose that could be said for anyone, though.
That is very true. I didn't catch your name.
I am Aarón.
Please.
Father Aarón.
Please don't do this, dude.
But most people can refer to me as Aaron.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet your acquaintance, Father Aaron.
That's not
like
I'm
your last
Josephine
name.
Thrombly. I go by Joe.
You wouldn't be called Father Aaron because it's not your last name.
I think it's a
Father,
choice,
what
isn't it?
do
You can pick which you want.
I got Indiana.
Father Aarón.
I'm not calling him that. I'll just call him Father. That's weird, though.
Can't call
Daddy.
him Daddy. Fuck. Come on. We're the same person.
I'll just call him Aaron or Aaron.
Papa.
No,
Big Papa.
I mean he is Spanish, right?
Papa Ron.
Mexican.
Papa Ron. Oh gosh.
So, Aaron, where are you from?
I'm from a small village in Mexico.
Oh, Mexico,
I-
really?
Yeah. My family was very devout. Never missed a service. I try to keep the same practice if I can.
Now, I've seen you display some divine skills that I've only heard about but never seen. If you don't mind me asking, how did you come across that kind of ability? That's amazing.
Seems God has blessed me with such a gift. I see it only right for me to share that gift with others.
That he has.
Personally, I don't understand it, but I know that it is a gift from God.
It is what it is.
Okay. Does anyone have any other events they would like to do before the night comes to a close?
I think we're good.
Alright, so eventually... I heard something.
Oh,
No?
sorry. I said sorry. What? Someone said something.
Oh. Okay. So, eventually the night comes to a close and you all find yourself getting into your own rooms. And we will take our second break there.
All right.
So we'll be back in just a bit.